Alright, man, what's good, YouTube? Trizzy Gang in the hood. Trizzy Gang, what's good, family? We back for another video, man. Jimmy High Roller is back, man. Jimmy High Roller is back. It's been a minute since he released the last video. I don't know. It's been like I want to say like a month or two. You know what I'm saying? Jimmy High Roller is finally back with a video. I used data to find the closest player to LeBron in the entire NBA. I'm really wondering who this is, cause bro. I want to bet some money, but at the same time I don't. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna end up coming to the end of this video and being like, no one is. You know what I'm saying? But there's a high chance that someone is actually the closest player. Now, when he says closest, we obviously no one's really close to LeBron. You feel me? No one's really close. He's just saying statistically, probably. And honestly, it's probably Luka. I've heard that before in the past, that the closest player to LeBron stat-wise, or who could potentially reach his 40,000 points if he just kept playing for like the longest, was Luka. But we all know Luka's not playing in the NBA for that long. So we're going to see. Shout out Jimmy High, brother. If you're new, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications to be notified when I post new videos. We are literally about to hit 4K. Probably in the next month. By the end of this month, we probably are going to hit 4K. Hopefully. You know what I'm saying? Shout out everybody who's been rocking with me. The NBA season is about to start. So y'all know I'm about to be locked in. Locked in. Bro, y'all not going to miss a Warriors game. I promise you that. You're not. You're not. I told y'all, even if I already watch it live, I'm still going to give y'all a post reaction. You know what I'm saying? I promise y'all. I promise. That is my promise to all my, you know what I'm saying, NBA sports fans, bro. I promise y'all. Because a lot of y'all, like, I tried to watch the football, bro, but I'm just going to be real, man. I just can't get into it, bro. I got to get into it on my own time to be able to start reacting to it. You feel me? But NBA is something that I watch all the time, bro. If you go on my Instagram feed, that's all that's in my NBA. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That's all that's in my feed is NBA. That's all that's in my feed. So it's like, it's only right, man. I was so bummed last year because I started, like, I came back to YouTube when the season was pretty much over. So, like, yeah, I did a few reactions. I did a few reactions in the, you know what I'm saying, the finals, the playoffs, just a little bit. But my team didn't even make the playoffs. You feel me? But we will this year. We're going to be going to the finals, bro. We just dropped a rumor to have these. Let me stop yapping, but we got these new jerseys. I ain't gonna lie, they gas. They gas. But anyways, let's get straight to this, man. I won't hold you up no more. Let's see what's talking about.
While watching this summer's Olympics, I couldn't help but to think, now more than ever, LeBron is an absolute anomaly. Truly a one of one. In the NBA's near 80-year history, there's never been a player quite like him. I mean, go through the laundry list of players, both past and present, who have drawn
you gotta give LeBron his credit, bro. There's never been a player kind of like him. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all.
Comparisons, and none of them are all that similar to LeBron. An unfair blend of size and speed, the strength of a big with the skills of a guard, an alleged pass-first player who bulldozed his way to the most points.
We need that LeBron and Curry teaming up, bro.
Got me thinking. Who is the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA right now? It's a question that I've always wanted to know the answer to. And after spending countless hours looking at the data, crunching the numbers, and comparing players from all around the league to LeBron, from the playmaking to the...
I'm either go Luka. I'm gonna go Luka. Luka, Paolo, and Ant. Those are my three. Luka, Paolo, and Ant, bro. Who's yours? Luka, Paolo, and Ant.
The shooting, the play style. I finally have the answer. And the most similar player to LeBron is not who you think it is.
Why is this a 23-minute video then? It's not who I think it is? Who the fuck is it then?
Today's video is sponsored by Draft. Help us you can still and get me high roll quick of the spearhead of all the active players currently in the NBA. Who reminds you most of LeBron James? Of course, not including himself. Who is the most similar to him? I'm sure among some of the names that come to mind, Paolo Banchero, Zion Williamson, what remains of Ben Simmons, and Luka Doncic are all viable candidates.
That's 2 out of my 3.
But even those guys, despite being the closest thing, are not really all that similar to LeBron. Paolo isn't as offensively dynamic.
Okay, so just off the rip, bro, 2 minutes and 26 seconds in the video, bro, it ain't my picks. Well, out of the one guy. But damn, all right.
As a young LeBron was, Zion isn't as good or willing of a passer. Luka isn't nearly as explosive. And
I mean, that don't really matter,
has pretty much stopped playing basketball altogether. Oddly enough, LeBron's
game
isn't even that unique. A do-it-all Swiss Army knife point forward. If anything, in today's positionless league, this archetype of player is the most common. And yet, somehow, after 21 years, not only have we not come across a single player who can do it as well as him, we have yet to see a player with a game that even resembles LeBron's. But why is
that nigga
in
LeBron,
fact,
bro?
with a game as relatively simple and effective as LeBron's, why has there not been a single player in the NBA who plays like him? This series of questions led me down a long and exhausting rabbit hole of what I believe to be the most extensive look into this topic. Who is the most similar player to LeBron James?
Let's see.
Now, usually whenever this question comes up, the most common and possibly accurate answer involves combining two different players. A hybrid.
Okay.
Many fans have said LeBron is a mix between Magic Johnson and Scottie Pippen, the skills of Grant Hill with the frame of a power forward. Tracy McGrady and Karl Malone's body.
That's crazy.
CraftedNBA.com has a great tool called Doppelgangers, which uses an extensive batch of metrics to find similar players throughout the NBA. But this tool specifically looks at the results of a player's game without looking at the method in which they got those results, which is an important distinction. For example, Kevin Durant and Bam Adebayo had the same field goal percentage last season, but the shots they took to get there were wildly different. To find real similarity, the method is just as important as the result. And so I decided to take matters into my own hands. And after hours of research, metric-based analysis, and data crunching in an attempt to solve this age-old question, I think I have the answer. An almost definitive conclusion on the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA today. And I guarantee the player who came out ahead of everyone else is not who you think it is. First, I had to reduce the entire league down to the players who had even an ounce of...
Let's look at this icon again, bro. Who do we think this is? Who do we think this is? Off of physique, bro, I can't tell, bro. I ain't gonna lie. This little mannequin right here is kind of like, or whatever you would call this, little shadow, bro. It's giving like Jordan Poole or something, bro. I know it's not Jordan Poole, but I'm just saying, like, look at the shape of it, bro. Like, what the fuck? That looks just like Poole.
The player who came out ahead of everyone else is not who you think it is. First, I had to reduce the entire league down to the players who had even an ounce of resemblance to LeBron and his game. Floor generals, oversized guards, hyper-athletic players, slashers, players who are just really good, bigs with guard skills, the do-it-all Swiss Army knives, high-usage guys, and because why not, Victor Wembanyama. Eventually, I was able to narrow down the list of players included in our experiment to about 70. Of those 70 players, here are the ones that scored the highest in similarity to LeBron. Now, how exactly did I quantify similarity throughout this process? Well, first I had to determine the metrics in which I wanted to measure. And here are those metrics. Stature, usage and creation, shooting tendencies, portability, passing, defense, athleticism, dominance, shooting ability, and play style. 10 isolated metrics that factor in each and every aspect of LeBron's game. Finding the similarities between him and any other player was the easy part. For example, take passing, which can be measured fairly accurately with passer rating, a metric that measures how frequent, effective, and efficient a player passes the ball. The metric is on a scale from 1 to 10, and LeBron's career passer rating is 7.67. That's really good. James Harden has a career passer rating of 7.37. That is also really good. Jaylen Brown has a career passer rating of 3.24, and that's not so good. To quantify just how similar these two players are to LeBron in terms of passing, we just need to figure out how much their passer rating deviates from LeBron's. In this case, James Harden's passer rating only deviates from LeBron's by 3.9%, while Jaylen Brown's passer rating deviates by 57.8%. This would give Harden a passing similarity score of 96.1% and Jaylen Brown a similarity score of 42.2%. By using this method of measurement, I calculated the similarity score of every player in our experiment across all 10 previously mentioned categories. I then tallied up their total score to find the overall most similar player to LeBron. The player with the highest score after evaluating all 10 categories is the player that shares the most in common with him. So, now that you know the method, let's see the results. Now, the first category we're going to take a look at is stature. If we were put to the task of building a basketball player in a lab with the ideal NBA frame, he would probably come out looking like LeBron. 6'9", 250 pounds with a 7-foot wingspan. In fact, here are his exact measurements, courtesy of CraftedNBA.com. Measurements you would usually find in a power forward. And that's exactly the type of players that share the most in common with LeBron in terms of physical frame. Among the players we are evaluating, the one that has the most similar frame to LeBron is Paolo Banchero, whose measurements are almost identical to LeBron's with a similarity score of 99.1%, from his height to his weight and wingspan. The next closest players are Julius Randle, Ben Simmons, Alperen Sengun, and Domantas Sabonis. Keep in mind, although I will only be displaying the results of 20 to 30 players per category, each individual score is being factored in and will be revealed at the end. Now, in terms of shooting, not efficiency, but rather where players choose to operate on offense and take their shots, there aren't many players around the league that are very similar to LeBron. He's got the size of a power forward, and he uses that size to get to the rim and attempt 35% of his shots within 3 feet of the basket. But he also attempts nearly a quarter of his shots from behind the three-point line. Players with shot selections this balanced are
look at the percentages, man.
Take, for example, a player like Zion Williamson, who has the physical tools like LeBron, but he does the majority of his work right around the basket. You'd think a player like Jason Tatum might be similar to LeBron in this aspect with how well-rounded his arsenal of shots can be, but he tends to favor three-point shooting above any other shot.
Which
so when
is
it comes
so
to shot
dumb.
selection, the player that is most similar to LeBron throughout the entire NBA is actually Russell Westbrook, whose shot selection only deviates from LeBron's by about 8%. The next closest player is Julius Randle, followed by Jimmy Butler, Paolo Banchero, and Andrew Wiggins, who, all similar to LeBron, have extremely balanced shot selections. Now, one of LeBron's most valuable and distinctive traits is his versatility as a player. One of his most underrated accomplishments is that he is the only player
The Miami
in
jerseys were
NBA
so
history
ugly.
to be listed at all 5 positions for at least a season. And there's actually a metric that makes an attempt to measure this adaptability.
Oh my
called
gosh,
portability.
Rivers?
This metric collects data like passer rating, shooting ability, ball dominance, and usage, as well as defensive versatility, and calculates how portable a player is within any given system. In other words, how well would a player fit if you dropped him into a team with 14 random players? The metric is on a scale
already
from
know
1
how
to
LeBron,
10,
bro.
where 10 is a perfect score. LeBron has a career portability rating of 7.82, and the most similar players to LeBron in this regard are Chris Paul and Jason Tatum, who are both
Jason
nearly
Tatum?
identical to LeBron with similarity scores of 99.8%.
Damn, gotta put more respect on
The next
Tatum.
closest players are Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, and James Harden. It's worth noting that they're
I mean, hey, bro, it's Kevin Durant, bro. You put him with anybody, he gonna get his. That's what I'll say.
are players around the
Where's
league
Curry?
who are even more portable than LeBron has been throughout his career.
Whoa, where's Curry? Curry should definitely be on this list. Curry makes everybody around him better. Let's just be real.
as Kawhi, Harden, Paul George, and Nikola Jokic. But you can't really be like LeBron if you aren't willing and great at passing the ball. So the next metric we're assessing is passer rating. This metric, similar to a few others, are on a
Chris
scale
Paul.
from 1 to 10,
Jokic
with of
gotta
course
be up
10
there.
being the best possible rating. Now, throughout his career, LeBron has had a passer rating of 7.67, and the player most similar to him in this metric is once again Russell Westbrook, who has the same exact career passer
man.
rating as LeBron does, 100% in similarity.
Russ was
The
getting
next
them
most
stats.
similar players are Josh Giddey, Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, and James Harden. And already you can begin to see just how diverse LeBron's skills are. In some categories, he has most in common with big men, while in other categories, he resembles a guard. Which leads us to our next category, and the most important aspect of LeBron's game: usage and creation. Throughout LeBron's career,
Bro, it's
he
about
has
to be
been
Russ
the
again?
engine to every offense he's been a part of, not just with
Oh
his
my
scoring,
gosh, that pass
but
was
with his
crazy.
playmaking. And to measure this, we can use 3 different metrics: box creation estimate, offensive
Bro,
load,
LeBron
and
is
usage
that
percentage.
nigga, bro.
And
Oh
this
my
is
God.
where LeBron really becomes an anomaly. Players of his size have historically done well generating offense for themselves, but usually it takes a ball-dominant guard to really carry the load of an entire offense the way LeBron has throughout his career.
Bro, we gonna miss
Which is
LeBron when
why
he
if
gone,
we search
man.
for the most similar players in these metrics, we will find point guards. Russell Westbrook, Ja Morant, and James Harden being the most
Bro,
similar to
let me
LeBron.
find out Russ is the closest thing to fucking LeBron. Oh my gosh, I would have to literally, bro, never speak on this man Russ ever again in my life, bro. Never. I wouldn't ever be able to, bro. Fuck him not having a ring. Nigga, you are the closest thing to LeBron James. In every stats, bro. He's up there. Now, granted, my man Russ was a stat pattern up in OKC, but you can't deny talent, bro. If he doing it, he doing it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna lie. Hey, bro, if it's Russ, I would have never thought of Russ.
In terms of their usage and creation on offense. However, there are some bigs who have transcended their positional value, such as Nikola Jokic, Joel Embiid, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, defensively, LeBron's career hasn't been nearly as consistent. At his peak, he was a phenomenal defender, one of the best in the entire league. But in recent years, he has games where he can be a flat-out liability on the defensive end.
Facts.
Although defense can be a difficult thing to measure, there are a couple metrics that might be able to point us in the right direction in our search for the most similar player to LeBron. Specifically, defensive versatility rating and crafted defensive plus minus are the two metrics we'll be using here. Throughout his career, LeBron has a defensive versatility rating of 60.3 and a crafted defensive plus minus of 1.3.
I guarantee Russ ain't number one.
Defensive numbers that are
actually
really good, especially for an offensive player of his caliber. And with these two metrics, we can find the player who is most similar to LeBron defensively, both in quality and versatility. And after crunching the numbers, that player is Chris Paul, with a similarity score of 88.2%, followed by Amen Thompson, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, and Ben Simmons.
All right, Russ not even on this list.
Despite LeBron not being considered an elite defender for years now, statistically, throughout his career as a whole, he is most comparable to some of the most valuable defensive players in the league. Our next category is what I believe to be the most indicative of measuring similarities from player to player. And that is play style, what role they play on offense, where they find the most value while on the court, and their habits both on and off the ball. Now, quantifying a player's play style is tough to do. What do you measure, and how do you measure it? Well, on craftednba.com, within each player's profile, there is a breakdown of their usage by play type. These plays range from ISO possessions to pick and roll as both the ball handler and the roll man, the post, off-ball cuts, handoffs, screens, and spot up. These 8 play types are essentially the 8 major different roles a player can play on any given possession. In LeBron's case, 4 of these 8 different play types make up for the majority of all of his possessions on offense. Post possessions, spot up shooting, ISO possessions, and his favorite, pick and rolls as the ball handler. Now, if we take a look at these 4 play types and search for the players with the most similar usage percentage across all 4, then the player that has the most similar play style to LeBron is Jimmy Butler, who surprisingly shares many of the same habits both in usage and play type, especially in ISO, pick and roll, and post possessions. The next most similar players to LeBron in this category were Giannis, Jason Tatum, Durant, and Jaylen Brown. For the most part, versatile wings that can generate offense from just about anywhere on the court. Now, athleticism is extremely difficult to measure in the NBA. Jumping high and running fast are feats of athleticism, but so are hand-eye coordination, stamina, and body control. And LeBron's athleticism is a key aspect of his abilities as a player, specifically in regards to his explosiveness. But unless you can get out there with a measuring tape and a stopwatch and grab some marks, it's almost impossible to really get an idea of how athletic LeBron is, or any player is for that matter. So that's exactly what we're going to do, by looking at each player's vertical leap. Now, although this is only one very simple way of measuring an athlete's explosiveness, max vertical leap is proven to be an effective gauge at doing just that. And it's an insightful metric in this context since LeBron's vertical leap has been a massive component to his game throughout the majority of his career.
No dunk contest for LeBron is crazy.
Sources, at his peak, LeBron had a max vert somewhere between 40 and 44 inches. After all these years, there's been no real confirmation on these numbers, but every single source I could find has his max vert listed somewhere between 40 and 44. So we'll go with something right in the middle. 42 inches. And in terms of vertical leap, there's actually 4 players in the league.
Look at homie right here. Look, bro, keep your eye on homie right here in the gray suit.
And in terms of vertical leap, there's actually 4 players in the league today who are most similar to LeBron.
That dunk would have been
Anthony
crazy.
Edwards, Ben Simmons, Aaron Gordon, and Amen Thompson, all with vertical leaps of 41.5 inches. The next most similar players are Donovan Mitchell, John Morant, Andrew Wiggins, and Derrick Rose. Now, we have factored in play style and shot selection, but we also need to consider shooting ability. It's probably the most average aspect of LeBron's game. Throughout his career, LeBron has been a streaky shooter, better as of late than he was in his early days in the league, but all in all, just very average. And this is really important. It's one of the main things that separates him from other great wings like Durant and Kawhi, who have been excellent shooters throughout their careers. And instead of strictly using field goal percentage to measure LeBron's shooting ability,
that's because, bro, until late in his career, bro, he was really just a dominant, like, you couldn't stop him, bro. He's like Shaq, low-key. Like, when you think about it, bro, you just could not stop, bro. You couldn't stop him, man. He's just a force to be reckoned with, bro. All that strength. What are you supposed to do with all that strength and girth? You feel me? All that strength and girth, bro. What you supposed to do with it, man? Can't do nothing, bro. But as of late, for sure, probably in the last 5 years, he's definitely worked on that shot.
To be using crafted NBA's shooting quality metric.
Obviously, he can always still
It's a stat
shoot.
that combines shooting percentages with spacing and shot value to find what they describe to be the most accurate shooters in the league on a scale from 1 to 100. For context, Steph Curry clocked a perfect 100 out of 100 shooting quality rating for the past 2 seasons. Over his 21 seasons in the league, LeBron has a career average shooting quality rating of 61.8. And right now, the player who is almost exactly the same caliber of shooter as LeBron is Jaylen Brown, with a career shooting quality rating of 61.9 and a similarity score of 99.8%. Followed by Rui Hachimura, Brandon Ingram, OG Anunoby, and Luka Doncic. And with one more category left, we cannot leave out the most important thing.
Who y'all think it's gonna be?
How good at basketball LeBron is. A player can pass like him, jump like him, shoot like him, but if they aren't dominating games, how similar to LeBron can they possibly be? And to measure dominance, instead of looking at accolades and accomplishments, we are going to look at purely how great they have been in their time in the NBA through the lens of an advanced metric. Crafted plus minus. Now this metric is an aggregate of 10 other advanced metrics. It's essentially an all-in-one of all the all-in-ones. It's just what we're looking for. And LeBron's career crafted plus minus is 7.66, which is the second highest in NBA history, only behind Michael Jordan. So although we're looking for the most similar player to LeBron, really we're looking for the best players in the league in this category. And in terms of crafted plus minus, that player is Nikola Jokic, with a career crafted plus minus of 7.62 and a similarity score of 99.5%.
Definitely not surprised.
Easily the most similar player to LeBron in terms of dominance. The next closest players are Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, James Harden, and Joel Embiid.
Damn.
And with that, we have assessed all 55 players across all 10 categories. Now, did all this research and number crunching take me far longer than I was anticipating? Yes. Was it worth it? I think so, because in a league where there isn't anyone quite like LeBron, I think with very high accuracy, I have narrowed the search for the most LeBron-like player down to one. After scanning a field of 70 potential matches across 10 different categories and dozens of metrics, the most similar player to LeBron in the NBA today is Jimmy Butler. It's kind of crazy, right?
Michael Jordan's son? The one they say originally was Michael Jordan's son? This not even crazy, bro. They were saying this about Jimmy Butler in the bubble, bro. They were saying he was the closest thing to Michael Jordan's son, bro. It doesn't surprise me that they saying he's the closest player to LeBron. It doesn't, especially usage, dominance on his own, with just his game. It's not even like with everything, like, bro. It doesn't even surprise me. It really does not surprise me, bro. Jimmy Butler, who does not get sleep. You know what I'm saying? Every time when it comes to the playoffs, he's locked in. He's taken his team to the finals twice, my guy. Twice. Both times he didn't win. It's unfortunate that both times that he went to the finals, his opponent's team was way better than his team. But, like, I'm just being real, man. Like, Jimmy Butler does not surprise me, bro. His overall dominance as just him is, bro, it makes sense, bro. It completely makes sense.
I know. In the end, Butler finished with an average similarity score of 80.81% across all 10 categories,
crazy.
Finishing just ahead of Giannis and Durant.
Giannis was my second. Remember, didn't I say Paulo? Or no. I said Paulo. Who did I say? Paulo, Luka. Who was my third? Oh, Paulo, Luka. Did I say Giannis? Bro, I don't know. Y'all let me know, bro, who I said in the beginning. I high-key already forgot. But damn, I mean, Giannis is right there, bro. He's a percentage off. Like, he's right there. It's the same shit, if we're being honest. But yo, I ain't gonna lie to you. Jimmy did take the Heat to like what? Or he took the Lakers, I think, to 6 games in the bubble. He took the now granted he got gentlemen swept in the finals by Jokic, but their team was just overall better than theirs, bro. Like I always say, bro, if the Nuggets would have kept that same team from whatever year they won, 2023, bro, they would have probably went back-to-back last year. You know what I'm saying? They got rid of Bruce Brown, Jeff Green. Now, you could have probably replaced Jeff Green, but you should have kept Bruce Brown and you should have picked up somebody else. Like, they would have went back-to-back. I'm just being real. Because who was in the finals? The Celtics and the Mavs? Bro, I thought the Nuggets were going to beat the Mavs. You know what I'm saying? Or I thought they were going to match up with the Mavs and then beat the Mavs, bro. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, It ain't work like that. It ain't go down like that. But Jimmy Butler's crazy.
A sizable lead on Jokic and Luka. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the player who came out on top wasn't a guy you would expect. At least for me, Jimmy Butler has not been a player that comes to mind when I think of similar players to LeBron. But when looking at his scores,
he's not, but it makes sense.
Turns out he is eerily similar in many ways. The only categories he didn't score well in were usage and creation and dominance, which makes sense. Butler isn't nearly the playmaker or as ball dominant as LeBron has been. And quite frankly, there's only a few players that even come close to LeBron in terms of dominance. But looking back, I think the clearest glimpse we got into just how similar Butler can be to LeBron was in the 2020 NBA Finals. Throughout this series, Jimmy Butler did a lot more facilitating than we're used to seeing from him.
Bro,
he was hyper-efficient from the floor, did his best jack-of-all-trades impression, averaging a very LeBron-esque 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists a game for the series. He seems to have been much more in control of the Heat's offense, more assertive and aggressive with his possessions.
Hey, bro, I know you heard my Warriors think about getting Jimmy Butler.
It almost makes you wonder if Butler played that super high usage role more often, which he is clearly capable of doing, would it become more obvious just how similar to LeBron he really is. He has fit well within the more traditional wing position throughout his career, but if Butler were to take on the role of a point forward, would it become more apparent that his game has more than just shades of LeBron in it? It's only ironic that
Jimmy Butler can't do it, I ain't gonna lie.
LeBron was of course against LeBron himself. Now, here are the full results from this experiment, with the 70 total players involved condensed to the 55 with the highest eventual scores. And there's a few interesting things going on here.
Giannis is right there,
just behind Butler. Throughout his career, he has shared similarities with LeBron, but in very different ways than Butler has. Kevin Durant, of all players, came in third, which caught me by surprise. Again,
that was crazy.
Not a player I would associate with LeBron's game, but the numbers say otherwise. James Harden finished in 6th, and I actually do see some similarities there, especially in their playmaking, ability to generate offense, versatility, and dominance. Ben Simmons, one of very few players to get the LeBron comp early in his career, finished all the way down in
Chris Paul being in the top 10 is so crazy.
The biggest difference here being that despite being a guard, Simmons cannot generate his own offense outside of 12 feet from the basket, leading to completely different shooting splits, play styles, and usage.
Oh no, I said Luka, Paolo. I said Luka, Paolo, and who the bro? Am I like, who was that last person I said? Luka, Paolo. Ah, man, I don't remember, bro. I do not remember, bro.
Visually, their games look similar, but in reality, outside of the size, athleticism, and passing, they
Simmons wearing the
don't have
mirrors
as
is
much
so
in common
crazy
as you would think. Among the young guys in the league, it is Cade Cunningham who has the most in common with LeBron, finishing 17th. Followed by a player who has drawn the comparison recently in Paolo Banchero. The next closest in this group of young players are Jalen Williams, Franz Wagner, and Anthony Edwards. Now, I really wanted to add some past players into this experiment like Magic Johnson, Scottie Pippen, and Grant Hill, but many of the advanced metrics used throughout my research were not available until
that pass was so lame by Magic, bro. No hating.
Unfortunately, with the method measurement that I used, there just isn't enough data on these players to make an accurate assessment. Overall, it seems that, for the most part, it is the best players in the league that have the most in common with LeBron, which is interesting since there was only one metric that specifically measured dominance. But it would make sense that players that pass well, generate a lot of offense, have a high usage on good efficiency, and can defend at least a decent level will have the most in common with
Chris
LeBron.
Paul in the top 10
Go through the
is
list
so
of
crazy.
great players around the league, and they all play a very large, impactful, and versatile role on the court. And their ability to do this leads them to a style of play that is similar to LeBron's one way or another. So, there you have it. In case you were wondering who exactly is the most similar player to LeBron, the answer is Jimmy Butler. But let me know what you think. Was the method used to determine our outcome effective?
Hey, man, what do y'all think, bro? Like I said, man, it doesn't surprise me, but at the same time, Jimmy Butler? Jimmy Butler, like, Giannis would make sense if it was Giannis. Luka, like I said, I've heard Luka. Obviously, the defense is not up there and shit like that. But Jimmy Butler, he really went crazy in the bubble, bro. If you know, you know. Shout out Rachel Nicholson, man. Shout out Rachel Nicholson, man. But, hey, man, Trizzy Gang, I'll see y'all in the next one. Take care. I'm out this.